낭독하는 명작 동화 Cinderella. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Cinderella. She lived with her father, stepmother, and two stepsisters. Her stepmother and stepsisters were very mean. Every day, Cinderella worked in the house. She cleaned up dust and ashes, so her clothes became old and dirty. Cinderella had no pretty dresses, but her stepsisters had many beautiful dresses. "Cinderella, your clothes are so smelly," they teased. Cinderella was lonely, but birds and mice were her friends. Cinderella shared her food with them. The animal friends liked her because she was kind, and they sang for her when she was sad. One day, a letter arrived. "Look, it is a letter from the palace," said one stepsister. She opened the letter and read it. Then she said, "There will be a fancy ball at the palace. Anyone can go to the ball. I am going to go." "I want to go too," said the other stepsister. Cinderella's stepsisters were excited. "Cinderella, bring all our dresses," they said. There were so many dresses, and they were heavy. Cinderella brought all of them. The two stepsisters tried on all the dresses. They wanted to look pretty, but they were not. "Cinderella, bring our shoes too," they said. Cinderella was tired, but she brought everything. Cinderella put down the things and said, "Can I go to the ball as well?" She wished she could go. Cinderella's stepmother laughed. "You know you cannot go," she said. "Your clothes are dirty and smelly." Cinderella felt sad. She knew she could not go. She knew how dirty her clothes were. She also had too much work to do in the house. That afternoon, the stepsisters got on the carriage. Cinderella watched them leave for the ball. She felt empty and disappointed. That evening, something magical happened. Cinderella saw a fairy with a warm smile. She also had a shiny magic wand. Cinderella was surprised. "Why are you sad, Cinderella?" the fairy asked. Cinderella told the fairy about the ball. "I really want to go," she said. The fairy smiled. "I will help you. You can go to the ball," she said. But Cinderella did not understand. "I do not have a pretty dress for the ball," she thought. The fairy waved her wand. Suddenly, Cinderella's clothes changed. She was now wearing a beautiful dress. The dress sparkled like stars. Cinderella's hair also twirled and twisted. She was amazed at this change. But Cinderella had no shoes. She also needed a carriage to go to the palace. The fairy waved her wand again. Now, Cinderella had glass shoes on her feet, and the pumpkin from the barn turned into a carriage. Cinderella was ready for the ball. "You look beautiful, Cinderella. Go and have fun, but come home by midnight," said the fairy. "At midnight, the magic will end." "I will come home by midnight. Cinderella promised. She thanked the fairy and went inside the carriage. The magic carriage quickly brought Cinderella to the palace. Cinderella arrived at the gate of the palace. She got out of the carriage. Her dress sparkled even more under the lights. Everyone looked at her. "Who is she? Is she a princess?" someone asked. Cinderella went inside the palace. The prince saw her and smiled. He walked toward her. "Would you like to dance with me?" the prince asked. "Sure," Cinderella answered. They danced beautifully together. The stepsisters saw Cinderella too. "Who is the beautiful princess? When can I dance with the prince? I want to dance with him," said one stepsister. They did not recognize Cinderella. They thought she was a real princess. Cinderella and the prince danced for a long time. They also talked and laughed. They liked each other a lot. Time passed quickly, and it was almost midnight. Cinderella remembered the fairy's words. She had to leave before the magic ended. "Oh no, I'm sorry, but I have to leave," she told the prince. She quickly said goodbye to him. "Wait, where are you going? And what is your name?" the prince asked. Cinderella was in a hurry, so she could not answer his questions. She quickly ran out of the palace. As Cinderella ran, one of her glass shoes came off. It fell on the stairs, but she did not stop. She kept running to her carriage. The clock struck midnight, and everything changed back. Cinderella's lovely dress turned back into old clothes. The beautiful carriage became a pumpkin again. So Cinderella had to walk home. Meanwhile, the prince ran out of the palace, but he could not find Cinderella. Instead, he found a glass shoe on the stairs. "It is her shoe," the prince thought. He picked up the glass shoe. There were guards at the gate of the palace. "Guard, did you see a lady a while ago? She was wearing a sparkling dress," said the prince. "Your Highness, we only saw a girl wearing dirty clothes," one of the guards replied. The next day, the prince wanted to find Cinderella. "I will use this glass shoe to find her." He visited every house in town, and he tried the shoe on every young woman. The prince went to Cinderella's house too. The first stepsister tried on the shoe, but her foot was too thin and small. The second stepsister tried on the shoe, but her foot was too fat and big. The stepmother said, "Try it on again." The second stepsister tried again. The shoe still did not fit her foot. The stepmother and the stepsisters were disappointed. "Is there another lady who can try on this shoe?" the prince asked. "No," said the stepmother and the stepsisters. Then the father spoke up. "Actually, there is a Cinderella. Please, let me meet her," said the prince. "Cinderella did not go to the ball. The shoe cannot fit her," one stepsister thought. They all went to Cinderella. Cinderella was surprised to see the prince, but she was also happy. She sat down and tried on the glass shoe. It fit her perfectly. "It is you." The prince smiled. He realized Cinderella was the lady from the ball. "Will you be my wife?" the prince asked. Cinderella also liked the prince. "Yes," she said. Cinderella and the prince went to the palace. They talked and laughed again. They spent many days together and eventually got married. And they lived happily ever after. The end.